Bolton Wanderers. A mammoth 20 shots, 8 of those on target. A 1.77 XG has led to 5 goals, 31 touches in the opposition box, 170 passes in the final third, and dwarfing possession as well. A thorough dominant display from Ian Evatt and his boys. It's 4 unbeaten now, as they really do try and chase down the top 2. Juliet Ferrington has been speaking to him.
Ian, talking to the players, they said that's been coming. And by the way, you're looking at me right now. You believe that too?
Yeah, look, we've had some results that we weren't happy with. I think our performances during those games, maybe not for 90 minutes, but for large spells of the games, have been very good. We just haven't been clinical enough and ruthless. And when we are, we're capable of doing that. We're an excellent team when they believe in themselves and they're focused. Look, you know, as I said before, we've been absolutely pulverised with injuries, but we don't want that to define us. We want to take excuses off the table. We've got a good squad of players that are capable of really special things. We're not going to get carried away by tonight. We're obviously very happy with the performance, but now we've got to go and replicate that on Saturday at Derby.
But in all areas of the pitch, you were quickest.
I'm just hungry. These lads are hungry, and if they keep that focus and keep that belief and faith in each other and trust each other with the ball and move it with that speed, we're a hard team to play against, and I think we showed that for large spells tonight.
Can you see a repeat of that performance? Are you going to demand a repeat of that performance with the games coming up now, or how difficult is that to do?
We're going to have to play that well. We've got Derby away on Saturday, which is as tough as it gets. Stevenage away after that. I'm sure Steve will have something to say on that, but that's a really difficult, challenging place to go as well. So, yeah, like I've just said to the players, that's the level and standard that they can get to, and I'm going to hold them accountable to that standard. And if they dip below, I'll let them know. But if we play like that for the last 8 games, we'll not have too much to worry about. When
you touched on it or mentioned it just a few moments ago about confidence and it gives the players, was their confidence lacking at all then?
I don't think so. I think at times we've been rocked and wobbled by instances in games. We just lost out on the moments. We've had big moments in games that we've not taken, and this is a league of moments really, and against the run of play we've conceded goals that have probably rocked and wobbled us, and we've lost a bit of confidence and belief, but there was none of that tonight. I could tell the focus was there before the game, and they've gone out and executed perfectly.
At this stage of the season, with a performance like that, the goals scored, and you talk about the struggles that you've had in the striking department here and the fact that you haven't got your key players available to you, what does that send out to the rest of those teams in and around you trying to achieve what you want this season?
To be honest, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but we're just focused on ourselves, and that's all we can do. We have a collective responsibility to score goals, not just the strikers, but as a team, and the same with clean sheets. Lately we've not kept enough clean sheets, and that's unlike us. We want to manage the game with the ball, have large amounts of possession and dictate the pace of the game, and I thought we did that really well tonight. Just
about controlling the controllables, that's all you can do now.
And that's it. We just have to focus on ourselves, and it's in our hands still because of the games we've got to play, and yeah, as I said, we just need to replicate that performance as often as we possibly can for the last 8 games.
Well, enjoy your night.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff there, of course, from Juliet Ferrington, giving the questions to Ian Evatt. He talks about it potentially taking each game as it comes, which is, of course, what all your managers say. But is it a statement, given Derby coming up and your good selves after that one?
I think it is a statement tonight. I think everyone's seen it as a real test for Bolton with Oxford going there. But I thought that was a real focused interview with Ian. He's just looking at Derby. I know he says us, but I think they're getting international breaks before then and we're playing. But he looks very focused. He looks as if he's got his best players playing at the top of the game again. And listen, the top end of League One is exciting, isn't it? Both for the automatics and the playoff race. It's just so exciting all over it.
Well, it's wonderful, really, and we're all getting very, very excited about it, of course. But given the teams that Bolton are coming up against, Michael, I mean, if they're going to get into that automatic promotion spot, it's going to take a fair bit of hard work, isn't it?
It is, but I think it helps them.
Yeah.
I do. I think it helps, and Steve touched on then about focus. I think it does bring a different level of focus to you, and, you know, for me, I think they look like a team that took a little bit of stick, and people have asked a few questions of him. And
does that come though with being Bolton in this division, even though it's a bit of a cliche?
Yeah. I think it does, but I think it helps galvanise the team as well. You know, if you get questioned and people are sort of prodding you, it just makes you feel that little bit more determined to go and prove people wrong. And like he touched on it then about the desire to run tonight. There was a clear, right from the start, a confidence and belief about the group that they were going to turn them over tonight.
let's get stuck into goals. I mean, there are 5 of them to talk about. Nathaniel Ogbetter was the man that got Bolton up and running, and a real sign, a reflection, Steve, of the quality available to Ian on the pitch tonight.
Well, yeah, if you look at the strikers combined to make the goal. There's a little bit poor defending from an Oxford point of view, but the finish is exciting. It's a great left peg. But the kid's got that in the locker. But you look at this, 3-1-2s around the edge of the box, switch of play. The fullback's too narrow, isn't he? And it's a great strike, and it's a brilliant start. And it makes a long night, in my opinion, for Oxford then after the first one.
Josh Dacres-Cogley on his birthday with the second goal of the game. I spoke to Steve about this at half-time, Michael. Is it a case of, if you're Des Buckingham, you're saying somebody's got to make a decision here, be it the goalie, be it the fullback? Yeah,
I think so, and I think that the way they the balls come from, obviously we spoke about, can the defender deal, can Greg Lee defend with the initial one, can he go and head it? And again, I think it just comes from the pressure that's coming from Cogley. You know, he's made a run, he's really made an intent to try and get behind, and it's caused a confusion between the goalkeeper and the defender.
Chases a lost cause, doesn't
he? Does, yeah.
Chases a lost cause and gets the break.
Come out into the second half, potentially there's words said at half-time from Des Buckingham's point of view about what he wants from the second half, but sometimes when your luck's not in, your luck's not in with this huge deflection, Steve.
Yeah, I said it, didn't I? I said it's, you know, you give the ball away cheaply, in my opinion, where they're trying to pass it out, Oxford, aren't they? And then they move the ball around the edge of the box, they get a bit of luck in, and that's what happens when you're having a good night. They go in for you instead of going over the bar.
Very definitely George Thomason's goal. That was just about to head into the bottom corner, giving the goalkeeper absolutely no chance at all. Aaron Collins was the player we mentioned pre-match, Michael, as well. When you've got a striker that's kind of been doing all of his very good hard link-up work, it's a reward for all that hard work, isn't it, to get on the score sheet?
It is, and it's that hunger and desire to get in the box and try and get between the sticks. And like you say, he's part of the build-up play here. It's a fantastic back heel to keep the ball alive, and the hunger and desire then to try and get on the end of it is the difference between, you know, anyone who wants to score goals or just be an assist.
The desire to get there, Nick, you can't teach that.
No.
You can teach, you know, keeping the possession with the edge of the box.
Yeah.
But when he sets it off, you can't teach the desire from Collins.
Well, how many times do you work with wide players throughout the years and you're trying to say to them, lock the far post out, make sure you get your goals, and you know, don't be standing on the edge of the box waiting for the perfect pullback, you know. And he's done that to a T. And
to crown it all off, player of the match, Josh Sheehan, with his name on the score sheet as well. Again, another player that we mentioned pre-match, Steve, but my word, can he dominate a League One match?
That's a great goal, you know, it's a great touch. It falls to him, he passes it in. When we speak every day in the training ground, if you've got opportunities around the edge of the box, pass them in the corners. It's more difficult for the goalkeepers. And what would Jamie come in there? He's got no chances right in the side net.
It's nicely passed into the bottom corner. He certainly knows his way to goal, and an assist, of course, for Josh Sheehan, a truly effective player for Bolton Wanderers. As a manager at the end of that, Michael, what do you say? Well done, lads. Take that into the weekend.
Depends what dressing room you're in.
I presume it's very, very contrasting. We'll discuss Des Buckingham and Oxford in a minute. But, well, I mean, it's a manager's lot is a tough one. We constantly look at you, we judge you, we break down what you've done. But do you allow yourselves 5 minutes to enjoy that before thinking about Derby the weekend?
I think he will. I think he will when he has a quiet moment with his staff and gets home and reflects on it. But I thought he answered it really, really well, and he's almost put it back on the players.
Yeah.
You know, he's going, you've set the standard now. You know, and if you drop below that, then I'm going to dig you out. I'm going to ask questions you, just like everyone else.
And everyone does it. He digs them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. You know, so no, I thought the way he dealt with that and the way he handled it, it almost really put the onus on the players to go and produce it again.
Pressure back on Bolton then to try and do something out.
Yeah, it was. We come up against a very strong Bolton team who were on top of their game, and unfortunately for us tonight, we weren't anywhere near ours, and that's the simple reality of it.
What do you put that down to? Because you were talking about the finer preparations and the fact you came into this match in such good spirit and such good mood.
Yeah, it's not one right now I can. We had a look at half-time and tried to change something to try and make sure we come out second half a little bit stronger and to close up a couple of the gaps that were starting to appeared all the way through the first half. It just hasn't happened. I didn't see that coming, didn't feel that coming at all with the kind of way we've been playing, the way the boys have been training, and the way we've approached the games. So a big blip, of course, but one that we don't get much time. We need to make sure now we react very strongly from this, because again, that is not a true show of who we are and what we are.
I guess as well, it's a pretty harsh lesson, isn't it? And the one thing you must do is learn from those lessons.
Well, you play good teams with good players. If you don't get things quite right, you get punished, and that's exactly what's happened tonight. I think they've enjoyed themselves and how they've played. We've probably made it a lot easier than And we haven't, mate. We've made it a lot easier for them than we certainly should have. We will definitely delve deep into that and make sure again Thursday when we come back in Wednesday, Thursday, that we get this right for Saturday, because that's all we can do now.
How do you manage the emotions though right now of your group of players?
I think you have to be careful straight after games, especially these types of games. We have to take a bit of a step back. It's very emotional, as you can imagine, in the changing rooms. But we've got a way we want to work. We have to stay consistent to that. It's got us to kind of where we are, and that'll be very important as we go into Saturday. So we'll do what we normally do. We'll review it. We'll go through what needs doing, and we'll make the right decisions coming into Thursday, Friday to make sure we're right for Saturday.
You could put it down to just one of those days, nothing went your way, and it was a big scoreline in terms of goals conceded. In terms of what you want to achieve this season, how much of a hit has that taken?
Oh, it's a blow because we wanted to come here and get a result, of course. We'd set up to come here to try and win, but again, you try and come away if you don't win with the minimum of a point, and that keeps you kind of tracking along. We've got a couple of games coming up now where we need to take maximum points from, and that's the reality. If we want to get where we want to by the end of the season, we need to make sure we do that now.
Oh, thank you for your time.
No, thanks very much. Cheers.
Understandably downbeat Des Buckingham, and I asked Michael before the break about Ian Everett's reaction to that, which would be a joyful one, you would presume. But from Des's point of view, it's the heaviest defeat for Oxford United in 7 years. Obviously, history's got really nothing to do with him. But he looks like he needs a lift there. How does he react to that? Then how does he get that onto the players for them to react against Port Vale on Saturday?
Well, different managers are different ways. I've always managed my career in one way. Who motivates the motivator? The manager. The manager motivates himself. His chairman's not going to be ringing him tonight and saying good things, is he?
No.
His chairman's going to be saying that wasn't a great performance. His supporters are going to be saying it's not a great performance. So Des has to go home, sleep on it, understand what went wrong. And he spoke about putting it right on the training ground. They've got top players. They've got absolutely top players. He should be in the top group at the end of the season. You know, he needs to go back on the training ground and understand it more.
It's tough, isn't it? Because I suppose context is everything. There's still just a point off the top six, Michael. And we've all been in games, probably me more than others, where you've been in that situation on the receiving end of that. I mean, the only thing you can do is step forward, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Keep thinking forward, keep looking forward. He's touched on then, you know, they've got two big games coming up that they want to take maximum points from. And, you know, from his point of view, Steve just touched on it then, it's almost, he has to almost have the Superman effect, you know, like literally, you know, you've got to walk yourself into a room, spin round, come out and be this different person. And because the reality is if the players see you in a, you know, a positive frame of mind and they see you with a positive attitude and looking forward and having a plan and knowing what you're going to do, you've got a better chance than you did 48 hours, 24 hours ago. And, you know, it'll be a tough night for him. You could tell that was tough for him, and it's hard after them type of defeats, but, you know, I think he'll come strong for it.
Let's just remind ourselves about how that race for the playoffs does look in League One, and it's perfectly poised, of course, to have Steve here talking about his Stevenage side in action tomorrow night live on Sky. Don't forget, against Peterborough. Games in hand, Steve, on the teams around. You're shaking your head already. But I mean, given where you are, you're in pole position, of course, at the moment. Blackpool, Oxford, and Lincoln just behind you. I said about the games in hand. Is it more about the points on the board for you?
I think first and foremost, amazing we're in this top group.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing what the players have achieved in 21 months. But now we're in there. Other teams will get 8 games to go. We've got 10, so we have an opportunity. It's going to be really tough for us to stay in there when you get Lincoln, they're flying. Leighton Orient have been flying. Blackpool have won again tonight. And so it's going to be really tough for us. But I think I said at the start of the show is that we have a dressing room that will give everything for us, absolutely everything. And if we fall short, we'll go again to someone, we'll try and replicate what we've done this season, only a little bit step more. But it's going to be tough. It's
going to be tough. I mean, expectation, and you don't have to release any trade secrets, of course, but as you say, given the season that you've had, when you get to that last 10 games, that make or break part of it, where you think we've been in this race a hell of a long time now, is there any pressure, anybody saying to you that it should be the playoffs come the end of the season?
Oh no, the opposite. The chairman falls off his chair every time he looks at the table. And he comes up and he thinks we're still there. Who don't want a game? I can see him now in his big house, like looking like this.
He thinks it's upside down. I
did say to him, it's the budgets are upside down, Jim. But now we've got a brilliantly supported board, brilliant supported director of football. We manage it as a family. We win together, we lose together. And as I often say to the players, we never get too high, we don't get too low. We have to keep it on a level. We're just a team that no one wants in the playoffs. We're the team that no one wants. Because if we go in them, we'll win them.
You think?
Yeah, I think we'll win them if we go in it.
Speaking about thinking you're going to win tomorrow, Peterborough.
Really tough. I've seen a special team tonight in Bolton. I said earlier in the season they were special. Peterborough's the best team I've watched. I've watched them close to my family home, so I've watched them a lot, if you like. And they've got special players at both ends of the pitch. They've got a young centre-back, Ronnie Edwards. How he's still in League One, I give up why he's still in League One. And they've got a front three that could be a front four with Mothersville as well added to the current three. And Johnson Clark-Hurst on the bench. A goal machine.
Been relatively quiet this season, hasn't it? When it was normally all about him.
Yeah, it's all about him. But they're a special team with a manager who, to use where you're going tomorrow, Cheltenham, he's Darren Ferguson, tried and tested course and distance winner. So it's going to be tough for us tomorrow. But if there's one team can go to London Road and get a win, we can.
It's a Steve Evans team.
Well, Stevenage.
Mark, I mean, you've both been there. You've both got teams up through the divisions. At this stage of the season, mid-March, with the end of the season looming, what gets you up? What's the percentage of guts, glory, of determination as opposed to skill and dedication? Is it a mixture of all of that?
I think it is a mixture of all of them, but the mentality does come into it this time of the year, you know, because, like you said, there's added pressure. There's no stepping away from it, no getting away from it. You know, you've earned the right, you've put yourself in a position where you can actually achieve something. You know, there's a lot of teams below that we're talking about, well, if we put a bit of a run, you know, they might drop off. But the reality is those teams that are up there right now, they deserve to be up there because they've been the most consistent throughout the season. And it's down to them to continue that. But it's not going to be easy because ultimately the prize is massive and it's huge and everyone talks about it and everyone wants to be a part of it. So I think mentality becomes the biggest factor.
It's been great to have you both in. Of course, tomorrow now you're going to be on the receiving end of what's been going on in here. Obviously, all the nice talk as well off camera as well. Is it hard to kind of compartmentalise the two? Because tomorrow you'll be asked post-match, mid-game, pre-match, what you think of potentially, hopefully for you, a win?
I think more towards this stage of the season than any other stage for me. You have to be brutally honest in your own assessment. So you go away from the hubble bubble of the Sky television cameras and the presenters and your staff. And like we said to Des tonight, go home, shut the door, analyse what's gone wrong. I hope I'm analysing what's gone right tomorrow night. That's what I hope I'm doing. But for me, it's just a bit focused, one game at a time. And when you're in these playoffs, and Michael's been there, when you're in this end of the season run of games, you lose games, you have to pick yourself up, you have to keep your troops up, because you go again 3 or 4 days later.
Well, gents, as I said, a pleasure to have you in. All the best tomorrow, Steve. A little break from the Madhouse for you, Michael, but I'm sure you'll be back on a touchline somewhere soon. More than welcome in here.
كونسيستنسي ومفيش استمراريه. السبب بسيط يا جماعه من وجهه نظري الشخصيه، موضوع اللعب بديفندر واحد وهو مش ديفندر وعنده مشكله في الطلوع بالكوره او في بناء اللعب فدايما بيغلط زي كايسيدو، وعدم وجود لاعب تاني جنبه دبل بيفوت مثلا لحمايته، زي ما شفنا انظمه لمدربين كتير في حمايه الدبل بيفوت، يعني في ارسنال موجوده، في السيتي موجوده، ستونز جنب رودري. الفكره انك بتستخدم هذا الديفندر في توزيع اللعب وهو بمفرده في حاله بناء اللعب، يعني في حاله الخروج بالكوره، في حاله الحيازه. في حاله الارتداد لازم يبقوا 2 دبل بيفوت. احنا في حالتنا دايما بتبقى في زياده عدديه لاي خصم جاي علينا في مرتده او في اتاكينج ترانزيشن او في مرحله بروجريشن، دايما بيبقوا زياده عدديه في الناحيه اللي فيها كايسيدو، وبالتالي دايما بيطلع واحد من قلوب دفاعنا، وبالتالي ايضا بيبقى دفاعنا قليل عدديا قدام اي هجوم مضاد من اي فرقه. ومش هقول لك ارسنال بس ولا ليفربول بس اللي شبعونا 4، ولا السيتي بس، لا ده انا هقول لك حتى برينتفورد، حتى ايفرتون، حتى مانشستر يونايتد. دايما عندنا مشكله في اللعب ببيفوت لوحده. الدبل بيفوت ستحمي دفاع تشيلسي، ودي المشكله بقى مش في مشاركه تياجو سيلفا او غير مشاركه تياجو سيلفا. تياجو سيلفا تقديمه الخطوه اللي كان بيقدمها بتفكرني بادوار ديفيد لويز في التشكيله زمان، ما تحسوش بيلعب سنتر باك، كان بيلعب شويه كانه ديفندر قدام الثلاثه في خطه الثلاثه في 2016 2017. ففكره ان انا بلعب بلاعب واحد بس ديفندر عنده اصلا مشاكل في الانسجام ومشاكل في الفريق، دي عامله ازمه. وانا في الاخر باجي اقول اصل دي مشاكل تياجو سيلفا يلعب او تياجو سيلفا ما يلعبش. في وجهه نظري الشخصيه هذا درس مستفاد. مشاكل تشيلسي الدفاعيه لابد وان يتبعها تغيير في ادوار لعيبه نص الملعب، واخص بالذكر ادوار انزو وكايسيدو، لان الاثنين لاعبين وبدون حلفان اعزائي المشاهدين وبحق الايام المفترجه اللي احنا فيها، الاثنين لاعبين ما طلعوش 40% من قدراتهم مع تشيلسي لحد دلوقتي ومع القياده الفنيه لموريسيو بوتشيني. طبعا الدرس المستفاد لما ألبنج النقطتين بتوع خروج رحيم ستيرلينج ومشاركه مودريك دي بالظبط، والله مش شايف غير موريسيو بوتشيني على الخط. الله، هايل هايل يا مودريك، سجلت هدف، نزل لي بقى يا ابن رحيم ستيرلينج المباراه الجايه اساسي. انا مش قادر اشوف التغييره دي غير كده. مهما اجاد مودريك مصيره للدكه، مهما اجاد مودريك. ودي في الفاصل اللي فات لما بقول لك ان انزو وكايسيدو ما جابوش 40% مع بوتشينيو، ميتشا ما جابش 25% من قدراته. الهدف اللي سجله بريحه لمبه، بريحه هازارد امبارح وترقيصه وبتاع وحطها، نعم مش قويه قوي كملها المدافع، بس الواد عنده كوره قوي والواد نجم قوي. ولو تحط في الجيل بتاع هالاند هتحط هالاند ومبابي وبيلينجهام، هتحط معاهم بقلب مستريح بالمر ومودريك وانزو، ده الجيل بتاع الكوره ده. فالسيد موريسيو بوتشينيو، انت النهارده شفت رحيم ستيرلينج كميه ضيع انفراد في الدقيقه 30 يوديك ورا الشمس، ضيع انفراد في الدقيقه 58 يوديك ورا الشمس. ازاي لعيب لعب في انديه التوب 6 زي ليفربول والسيتي وتشيلسي ومنتخب انجلترا ونهائي يورو وحاضر كل المعسكرات الكبيره، الفينش بتاعك لسه تعبان كانك عيل ناشئ؟ ده الناشئين رجلهم اقوى ودقتهم اعلى. فازاي محدش شايف ان رحيم ستيرلينج ده سكواد ديبس بس يبقى معايا في التشكيله لما يتصاب مدويكي ولما يتصاب نزله زي ويليان كده ما كان بيتعامل فيه تشيلسي، مش ويليان وهو اساسي. طبعا ايش جاب لجاب فينش ويليان وفينش رحيم ستيرلينج. فالحقيقه ماذا يرى موريسيو بوتشينيو في رحيم ستيرلينج حتى يبدا اساسيا على مودريك؟ اعتقد ودي النقطه اللي بعدها، لابد وان يبدا مودريك مباراه ليستر سيتي، ومش بس يبدا على الجناح، لابد ان يبدا مودريك في مركز 10 في مباراه ليستر سيتي. وهذا هو الدرس قبل الاخير المستفاد من مباراه نيوكاسل. عزيزي المشاهد، تبديل المراكز الجميل اللي حصل ما بين جاكسون لما راح على الناحيه الشمال وتبديله مودريك وبالمر كانت جميله جدا، والولد واخد حريه بشكل اكبر، وكمان محرر جنبه جالجر. لما اتحرك شفنا جاكسون هو اللي عمل مجهود، الكره كلها لمسها جالجر، جه خطفها من قدامه مودريك عشان يسجل الهدف الثالث بتاعه. حتى مودريك في الهدف اللي سجله والاهداف اللي بيسجلها دايما الزياده بتاعته بتيجي من على الناحيه الشمال عشان يجي يعمل حته التاب ان اللي قدام الجول، يجي في السكس يارد زي مثلا في نيوكاسل في مباراه الكاس، فاكرين الهدف اللي رجعنا البطوله، او في زون 14 زي ما هو سجل كده يجي ويعدي منها ويشوت، او زي هدف امبارح، او بيشوت من على حدود القوس وبتبقى حلوه، وبيلعب اللعبه دي مع اوكرانيا. فليه يا معلم ما تجربش موضوع الدبل بيفوت ويبقى قدامهم واحد زي مدرك في مركز 10 وهيأدي لك ادوار دفاعيه قد تخليك تفك زرار القميص وتستغني عن جالجر قدام شويه. استغنى عن جالجر قدام شويه يا عم. وفي حاله انزو واللي حاصل مع انزو الفتره الاخيره، لو انزو ريح ولعب دبل بيفوت جالجر جنب كايسيدو والله ما هتزعل حد لو لعب مدرك كمركز 10. واخر نقطه في الاستفاده او درس استفدناه امبارح، وده درس الحقيقه مش عارف هو ميزه ولا هو عيب، ان الناحيه اليمنى في تشيلسي المكونه من مالو جوستو وكول بالمر ناحيه غنيه جدا، ناحيه قويه جدا، ناحيه ممتعه جدا، ناحيه متفاهمه جدا، ناحيه سريعه جدا، ناحيه بتخلص منها جدا 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 جدا. وطبعا سيذكر من قائل ان الفريق صرف قد كده وملايين ومليارات، والكل سيتناسى ان بالمر ده ب 45 وان مالو جوستو ب 30 35. صفقتين سوبر السنه دي، صفقتين سوبر، مش بس في تشيلسي، في البريمير ليج كله. بس طبعا مركز تشيلسي هو اللي مش مخلي الصفقات دي باينه. عندك جينات النجاح باديه، عندك جوستو، عندك بالمر، عندك مودريك، عندك انزو، عندك كايسيدو، عندك والله مراكز نجاح، عندك جينات للنجاح. لما تلاقي فرقه فيها 5 6 لعيبه واقفين على رجلهم بشكل حلو وعندهم البوتنشال العالي الحقيقي يخليهم سوبر ستارز، لا عندك انك تنجح. ومش تنجح انك تنجح تبقى الثامن ولا السادس، تنجح لو مع اي مدرب تاني وفي الظروف بتاعه البريمير ليج قد كان يكون ان مركز تشيلسي، مش هخش في الغيبات لان في بدايه الحلقه قلت لك انا بتكلم على تحليل اللي انا شايفه بعيني، مش هتكلم في الغيبات ومش هقعد الولك. لكن امبارح تشوف عندك بوتنشال، عندك ناحيه حلوه، عندك ناحيه تبني من عليها لعب، عندك اوفرلابنج كان بيحصل جميل جدا، وعندك قطمه بتحصل وتغيير مراكز حلو جدا. وبخروج رحيم ستيرلينج كمان زدنا حركه وكنا اكثر خفه واكثر مرونه في الشق الهجومي. ففي درس مستفاد ان عندنا جبهه نستطيع ان نبني من عليها الشيء الكثير، ونستطيع من الناحيه الشمال ان احنا نموه بالشيء الكثير ايضا استغلالا لقوه هذه الجبهه. لذلك مباراه ليستر ليه ما لاقيش مثلا واشنطن بيلعب مهاجم، جاكسون على الشمال، مدرك كصانع لعب او مركز 10 وبالمر على اليمين. سناخذ انسيابيه، سناخذ حريه حركه، سناخذ كرات، سناخذ اوفرلاب، هناخذ السيطره والهيمنه على ليستر سيتي. فك الزرار يا بوتشينيو، فك الزرار وهاجم، فك الزرار وهاجم وبطل خوف. انت تلعب باسم تشيلسي، هاجم وبطل خوف. طبعا اخيرا عشان انهي الحلقه دي، مش عارف انت عملت لايك ولا لا، وصلت الفيديو ده 700 لايك ولا لا، انزل اعمل لايك. طبعا عشان ما انساش الناس عشمانه فده لنا نقطه على الثامن، لو كسبنا المؤجل نبقى في الثامن، نكسب اللي بعده نبقى فاضل لنا 5 نقط على المركز السادس المؤهل في الأوروبا ليج. عايزكم تنسوا العشم ده، عايزكم تنسوا العشم ده. انتوا عارفين ليه؟ لأن هناك 8 أسباب قلناها، دروس مستفادة من مباراة نيوكاسل. إن رآها بوتشينيو سنحلم بالمركز السادس والصعود لبطولة أوروبية، وإن عاند بوتشينيو وأصر على الجبنة وبداية التشكيل كما سيحدث أمام أرسنال وكما سيحدث أمام ليستر فلا تلومن إلا نفسك. واضح إن الراجل من تصريحاته واخد تطمينات إن هو مكمل الموسم اللي جاي. ما عندكش حاجة تخسرها، أحمد زي الحاج أحمد. عندنا